It's good family. So I will go down in history as the only person that supported Smile 1. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. I remember everybody calling that movie trash. I may even have a review on this channel. I forgot where the fuck I said that at. There has to be some solid proof out there that I was like, yo, this movie is fire. Why do niggas hate this shit, bro? I've mentioned the final scene inside Smile 1 a couple times in my main channel videos. There's like some scene where basically, spoiler alert for this entire goddamn video, for 1 and 2 of Smile. So, at the very end of Smile 1, of course, the main character loses. And that's what caught me off guard, is like, usually you don't have horror movies where like, they just lose. Like, it happens, of course. It happens more than any other genre of movies ever, but like, it just caught me off guard because she lost. I was like, damn, she went through all that for no reason, bro. Like, so at the end of the movie, she has this whole like hallucination that she got saved and then she's with her boyfriend, and then, you know, shit starts looking off, and then all of a sudden it turns out she was hallucinating that entire thing, and she really never even left the house that she was trapped in the first place. So she does end up calling the boyfriend though. The boyfriend shows up to the location, tries kicking the door down, boom, 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 while she's getting taken over by this like Smile demon or whatever. If you guys don't know what the fuck I'm talking about, there's a demon inside both of these series that basically goes after one singular person and makes them kill themselves. That's basically the entire thing of the movie, is that you're hallucinating like people following you, people smiling and shit, and then you end up killing yourself after the week, after you can like completely lose your fucking mind. It feeds off your fear like Pennywise or some shit. So, once you kill yourself, if you kill yourself in front of somebody, which the demon tries to make sure happens, then that person ends up getting followed by the demon as well. It's like, if you ever seen the movie It Follows, that's kind of how it's like transferred, you know, without the whole like having sex thing. So it goes from person to person to person. They kill themselves in front of somebody. That person gets haunted by this demon. They kill themselves in front of somebody. That person gets haunted, so on and so forth, etc., etc., ellipsis, whatever the fuck niggas be saying. So she ends up killing herself. She sets herself on fire. The boyfriend sees it happening in one of like the most intense scenes I've ever seen like in movie history, bro. If you could just go look up like Smile 1 final scene or some shit. I've watched that shit so many goddamn times, bro. Just like the look on his face when he's seeing the love of his life, the person that he was going to marry, or may have already been married to. I forgot what exactly was going on. Either they were in love or they were married, or girlfriend and boyfriend dating, whatever the fuck. But either way, like, it was a relationship where you watching somebody sit there and die, and he just is helpless. He don't know anything about this demon. He don't know why this is happening. But of course, that gets transferred to him at the end of Smile 1. Now, start at the beginning of Smile 2. It actually shows a nigga. I didn't know it was gonna like take off from that exact same moment, but this Smile 2 literally takes place like 6 days after Smile 1. So it shows him like clearly fucking, you know, like when a character has been through so much and like they just have that look on their face like they're so tired. So he's just like sitting in the car like this, all like just hazy, and his eyes are black and his face is all dirty and shit. And it's clearly not the same guy that was inside the first one, bro. Like, he was like actually a pretty handsome man inside Smile 1, and inside this one he looks like a fucking crackhead. Like, he's just being tortured over these past 6 days or whatever. So his point of view, his mindset is, yo, I saw what happened to my wife or girlfriend or whatever. That's gonna end up being me. So at least I'm going to try to kill somebody or kill myself in front of somebody that is a bad person. Like, I'm gonna find this group of bad people, kill myself in front of them, so like it goes to the bad side of the world. Like, stop wreaking harm and havoc on fucking actual good niggas. Do only bad people. So he's going to this drug house basically, holds this guy at gunpoint, walks inside, and then tries to kill himself in front of one of the, you know, the bad people inside his house or whatever. And it ends up failing. The plan goes completely wrong. He accidentally kills both of them by accident. They get into a gunfight and he kills both of them. And then he ends up being seen by like this lower level drug dealer dude who like comes in the house last and he's like, well, you know, I hated them too. Like, I don't know what's going on. But he doesn't end up, you know, harming him or whatever the fuck. But that dude did see him, and his name is Lewis, and he will be important later on in the storyline. This is the one single gripe that I have about this movie. is what I'm about to say right now, because like it kind of is like a very, very, very big like continuity error or like plot hole that doesn't really make sense at all. Especially like pertaining to what the storyline ends up turning into at the very end. And that's the one single gripe I have about this movie. Everything else, cinematography, plot, dialogue, everything else is amazing. Acting is fucking superb, but I will go ahead and tell you right now that this is the one single reason I will not give this movie, in my opinion, an upper 9 or a 10, honestly. If it was fixed right here, then honestly this movie would be perfect to me on some real shit. Like, this movie is very, very good, extremely good. Like, I was on the edge of my seat the entire fucking time. But basically what happens is the Lewis guy sees him and he's like, fuck, and then runs out the house and then gets hit by a car. Like, he doesn't kill himself at all. Like, it's not an accident. Usually there'll be like a grand EO scene where like you'll see the demon kind of take them over and then find a way to fucking heal himself or some shit. Like, just do some bullshit. But like, none of that happens. Like, he's clearly still in his right mind whenever he gets hit by that car and he's killed by somebody else. Like, he doesn't end up killing himself at all. Like, somebody just driving, sees somebody in the road and actually hits them. And that ends up becoming the title sequence. Like, the blood smear that he got hit and like dragged into the fucking grass or whatever is a smile, and that does, you know, accuse the smile too or whatever, which would be a very cool sequence, honestly. Like, that is a very good title sequence. I love whenever movies get creative about their title sequences. It's always funny to me. It's always cool to me when they do something creative. But like, I would have y'all heard my cat. I would have spared my like liking for title sequences if this scene was taken out completely, because it honestly like ruins the plot line, like it, on some real shit. So basically what happens is that Lewis was the last guy to see him alive, so I'm guessing the demon transfers into Lewis. So Lewis is this like small time drug dealer, deals cocaine, deals marijuana, probably, you know, small stuff like that. Not to the grand scale that everybody inside that house was, but he still sells drugs to people. Cut to our main character. Our main character is like a Lady Gaga-esque, like Sabrina Carpenter, like, not even Sabrina Carpenter, I'd say like Lady Gaga, Demi Lovato, like in the line of celebrities where something very controversial has happened and they've kind of had to like reboot and rebrand their entire career to come back from that one thing. So what that one thing was is her and her boyfriend were drunk driving one night, very high off a lot of drugs, and ended up crashing into like this tree or something, and then the boyfriend dies on impact, and she gets found very high, and they're both high, and it's kind of like this big stink on career, basically. Like, yo, why were y'all high? Why were y'all driving by this? Are you the reason he died? Some shit like that. So her career almost ruined. She rebrands, cuts her hair off, and now she's back inside the limelight and ready to give it another go. So she's talking to, which is also very cool, Drew Barrymore was inside this movie. Drew Barrymore, inside my favorite scary movie of all time, Scream 1. She's only in there for like 5 minutes, but she's still inside that bed. She only inside the classic scary movies, I ain't gonna hold you. But she's being interviewed by Drew Barrymore on like her talk show or whatever, which I think is actually real. I'm pretty sure there is a Drew talk show, if I'm not bugging. I don't watch talk shows and morning shows and shit, but I know for a fact I've like maybe seen that she has a talk show or something in real life. So she's talking to her. She's like, you know, hopefully everything's good. You know, we heard you were very, very strung out on drugs, but you're back now. How are you feeling? And you can tell like already this main character is very much inside of her head. Like, once the interview is done, she's walking back towards her mom, who is her manager, and her assistant, who I'm guessing, I thought it was her brother at first, but I think it's just some guy that's unrelated to them, but they're all three very close. But like, as they're talking to her, she's zoned out. Like, there's a lot of this movie where like you can tell she's in a bad mental space, because like the whole being a celebrity thing and coming back, and she's about to go on tour, like just so much shit is going on. And like there'll be a lot of scenes where people are just talking to her and she'll just be walking and like it'll be muffled. So like the whole thing where like everything's muffled and stuff like that. And then she'll be like, huh? And then it'll like be clear, and then like she's just all inside her head. Like, she is just so stressed out and so depressed that she don't give a fuck about nothing that's going on, basically, because she just lost her boyfriend like however many months ago. Like, that's still very much prominent in her mind or whatever. So that ends up happening, and then we find out that during this car accident she got impaled, basically. So whenever the crash happened, there's like a big scar right here on her stomach, and a small scar right here on her back. So she very much got impaled by something. There's stitches, but for that pain, for that, she's taking Vicodin, which is, I don't know if it's a hardcore drug. I'm pretty sure it can be if you're abusing it. I don't know why she wasn't getting it from a doctor. I don't even know if Vicodin's illegal. I don't know anything about drugs, so don't ask me, my nigga. I didn't choose that lifestyle. I chose to be a fucking nerd and a gamer over here, so I don't know why she couldn't get Vicodin from a doctor or anything, but the way that she was getting this pain medicine was through the means of a drug dealer, and that drug dealer is Lewis. So, her and Lewis knew each other inside high school. That's the only reason she has a connection with him. And he is her like primary source for drugs. I'm guessing back whenever she was doing hardcore drugs, he would like give her the cocaine. He would give her any drug that she needed. But right now she's only taking Vicodin for that pain. It's not her abusing it still, because she wants to cut that lifestyle out. So she needs more Vicodin for the pain of her scars and stuff. She was like practicing, rehearsing, and like hurt her back a little bit, and it's really, really paining her. So she needs drug medicine. She goes to him and he bugging the fuck out, bro. He whenever she like opened the door to go into his house, that nigga pulled out a whole ass fucking katana and was like, "Who are you? What are you doing inside my house?" And she was like, "Nigga, I texted you before I came here. Like, what are you talking about? Like, would you not remember having a whole conversation with me?" And he's like, "Huh, I never texted you." And then just like is losing his mind clearly because he must be on like day 5 of this fucking demon already, stalking him, whatever the fuck. Now, if you guys remember what I said earlier, Lewis is the last guy that saw that guy alive. So, of course, the smile demon is now after Lewis. And she just put herself directly in correlation in line for trajectory of the whole, like, passing to her, basically. So, he's clearly crazy. She's like, yo, you have the Vicodin, whatever. He's like, all right, yeah, let me go to the back. And he goes to the back, and she's sitting there watching, like, the news, basically. The news, of course, is talking about the situation as well. Like, oh, Star, what was her name? Her name was like fucking, it started with the S. I forgot what her name was. I remember it later on. It was like Sile or some shit like that, or Star. I think her name actually was Star. I don't know. It started with the S, but names aren't really important inside storylines, so whatever the fuck. Star, Sile has just been, released out of rehabilitation and is now going on tour, and, now she's rebranding, whatever the fuck. And her boyfriend right here, of course, died in a car accident. She don't want to see that, turns the TV off, like calls the dude like, yo, I got places I gotta do, my tour starts in a week, I gotta get ready for this shit, but he's not responding. So she gets up and walks to the doorway that he went inside of, and that nigga just like runs out of the fucking, scared as shit, and then he's like looking up at the fucking ceilings and shit. She don't know what the fuck is going on, but she thinks he's having like a really, really, really bad like drug induced like just hallucination basically, because he's a drug dealer and he was a druggie, so she thinks he's just high out of his fucking mind. So she's like, bro, come on, man. Like, she don't know what's going on. And he's just sitting there, like, looking at the ceilings and shit. And then, eventually he starts, like, opening his mouth really wide, like, and then starts choking. So she thinks it's a drug overdose because he's sitting there lying, like, just, like, lying on the ground like he's choking or some shit. And she's like, yo, like, what? And then, she runs over to him, and then eventually he stops choking, and then looks at her, and then starts smiling. So she's like, what? And then, like, backs up from him, and he kills himself with, like, this weight that's on the ground, which is a very, very good scene. I heard in theaters it was even better because, like, the sound was, it sounded like he was really, like, bashing his head in with this fucking weight. If you want to go watch that, it's also on YouTube. Just look up Smile 2 First Death Lewis or some shit. But he just, like, grabs a weight, basically, and just hits his head over and over again. Like, everything looks amazing inside this movie, bro. Like, it looks like his face is really, like, slowly getting damaged by this big 50-pound weight. Like, it looks crazy, bro. Like, when I tell you after I finish this movie, and, like, what I'll do is I'll keep my TV on all the time whenever I go to sleep because I need sound and shit to be happening. But I woke up, and I was just like, I thought I was in the movie. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, bro. Like, I woke up like with my heart racing, like looking around and shit. Like the nigga was following me next. Like, I was like, oh shit. Like, that was the first time I woke up like scared a little bit. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. Like, I wasn't feared for my life or anything, but like that first like 10-second period, like I was watching the TV and I thought the nigga that was talking on the TV was gonna slowly like smile at me. I don't know, bro. Like, I don't even know how to explain it, but This movie had me a little, like, you know, scared for the first 10 seconds when I woke up out of my sleep, which I'm sure is normal because I was still in that REM sleep stage and didn't know what the fuck was going on. So, everything in this movie is perfect, like I was saying. She sees niggas kill herself and then goes back to the hotel room. She doesn't call the cops because that stigma is still on her name of her being like this druggie, basically. And she's trying to sell a tour. And she's like this Taylor Swift level of celebrity. It's not based on a Taylor Swift type celebrity because Taylor Swift never took drugs or nothing, but she's like the biggest pop star ever right now. Like, she's willing to get there and she doesn't need being inside this apartment when the police show up on her fucking name at all. So she doesn't call the cops. She leaves, and then we never really hear what the fuck happens with Lewis after that. But the Smile Demon, of course, does start following her. So now you have a lot of scenes where, like, she'll be looking inside a mirror and, like, Lewis's dead body will be sitting there, like, just smiling at her and stuff like that. Of course, she's seeing different niggas, like, just in the fucking crowd and audience and shit smiling at her, and she's just slowly, over time, losing her mind. I won't go into depth too much about this part of the movie because I feel like the anticipation and anxiety and just the slow rise of what the fuck this movie builds to is worth the watch. Even if you are watching this spoiler review or whatever, go watch this just for like the slow rise of her losing her fucking mind, because she is an amazing actress, bro. I think her name is Naomi. She was inside, you know, she was inside, like, only movie that I recognized was like Lemonade Head from like Disney Channel or some shit, which I know is not like credible on her part, bro, but she's a very, very good actress, and I can't say that she killed this fucking role, and she probably will be in a lot more known movies now that she was inside this one. But she's slowly losing her mind, slowly going crazy. Y'all probably seen that scene where, like, she's probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie. I'll try to set it up as best as I can. She is basically doing this like charity event to promote her tour, which is very common for a lot of celebrities and stuff inside this scenario. So, you know, the dude is like, yo, just go on that stage, just talk to them for a few minutes, and then get off the stage, and then it'll raise the fuck out of your fucking social level. Like, we're just trying to build you up as good as possible because, you know, we need this. Like, after the whole drug thing, your boyfriend dying, we need this to happen. So she's on the stage talking, and the little prompt is like going up as she's reading the words, and the prompt just stops. Like, so, like, I don't know if you've ever been in the situation, but like you reading from a script and the script just doesn't, like, it just stops like that. Like, you just like, nigga, like, what do I do now? So she just standing there. She got to freestyle a little bit. So she's like, yeah, you know, me being a druggie wasn't, you know, in my plans, and, you know, putting all those drugs on my nose. Like, she's trying to make jokes and shit, but it's like nobody's laughing inside the audience. Like, it's just like this long 5-minute period of just pure awkwardness of her trying to make some shit up until the prompt fix itself. But it's not corny. Like, it's just like a genuinely like, like, this is cringy. Like, I don't know. It's like, because like, what would I do in the situation type shit. But basically, the prompt starts working again, and you know, she's reading and she's like, oh, you know, the speech is over, and now I'd like to bring up, of course, a very well-renowned celebrity and actor, Paul Hudson. And then the crowd like gasp, and she like drops the mic real fast because Paul Hudson is, of course, her boyfriend that passed away. So she's hallucinating heavy at this point. Like, it doesn't really say Paul Hudson on the screen. Like, she's just hallucinating and seeing that's what the fuck it is. Which is another part that I really like about this movie is, like, once you get like 30 minutes in, you don't know what the fuck is being hallucinated and what's not being. Like, it sets up very well where, like, you don't even know if anything inside this movie even fucking happened until the very end. Like, it sets it up very well, and like, you just like sitting there, like, it'll be like a long drawn out like 30-minute sequence, and then it'll just turn out to all be hallucination, and she'll like be in a holding like, what the, no, what, how, and like, it's just like this, which is another part I want to bring up before I get to the charity event. Like, you like, how do you beat this nigga? Like, this is the one movie I've watched where it's like, yo, like, this nigga, this demon, whatever, like, it's unbeatable, dog. Like, you can't beat this thing, bro. Like, in the first movie, the girl does all this shit and then dies. In the second movie, she's going through all this shit, and it's like, bro, how do you, what the fuck is going on? Like, you literally it's unbeatable, bro. Like, I swear, like, the more I explain this movie, I promise you'll be like, yo, how the fuck? Like, so another thing I forgot to bring up is when she starts initially going crazy, she basically, wants to text one of her old friends that she had a falling out with like a few months before. Like, it shows the text thread and it says like, fuck you, you stupid cunt. Never talk to me again. I hate you, basically. And now she wants to reach back out to that friend to get her back inside her life so she can like have somebody to talk to. Because like as a celebrity, you really don't have nobody to talk to. You can't really talk to your manager, who's your mom. Your assistant don't really care about you. He's just getting the bag. And it's just like you kind of just feel lonely. So she needs that connection with her friends so she can be like, yo, I saw somebody kill themselves a few days ago. Like, I feel terrible. Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind and going crazy. So she texts a friend, and the friend calls back like 5 minutes later, like, I'm sorry. I'll get over there as soon as I can, like in 45 minutes. So then there's this whole sequence basically where, the friend pulls up after, she gets this scare. I won't explain too much of the movie. Just go watch it because I don't want to like ruin the whole thing. I just want to kind of give you the skeleton for it so you can go watch it for yourself. The friend pulls up after having this huge scare and she's like, how'd you get here so fast? And she's like, what do you mean? I called you like an hour ago. And you can already tell she's losing just her mind and track of time and stuff like that. So back to the charity event, she calls out the boyfriend's name, then drops the mic real fast, and then everybody's like, and then, because they're shocked that she said that name. And, like, clearly it doesn't say that on the fucking prompt, but she's seeing that. And then she, like, scans the audience, and, like, you see this nigga in the back go like this. And then it's her ex-boyfriend that just died in the fucking car accident. So she's like, no. And, like, the nigga, like, stands up and just, like, slowly starts, like, walking towards her. But, like, you start feeling bad for these characters because like none of this stuff is happening. So like being a nigga in the audience that can't see this hallucination scene, you just see her on stage like, and like you like, yo, what the fuck? But like you don't know why she's reacting like that. You just see niggas losing their mind and like you can't see what the fuck they see. But she sees her dead boyfriend walking on the fucking stage, so obviously she gonna be going crazy, but you just see some girl losing her damn mind on the stage. So like he walks up and like this goes to one of the cleanest scenes in this movie, which y'all probably seen the clip or whatever, but she's like just snot coming out her nose and she's crying and like her makeup smeared all over the place and she's like, stop smiling at me! Like she this look up like stop smiling at me or some shit, but like that shit is so fire. I can't put the clip inside here because they'll fucking, I don't know, probably strike this channel down or some shit, but like she got that shit off crazy because you like really sitting there like, god damn, like what do you do? So that happens. Obviously it's a PR nightmare. Everybody's kind of like, yo, like what the fuck? What is going on right now? Like is she losing her mind again? Is she back on drugs, nigga? Is she good? Like maybe we should just cancel this whole tour, which is what she wants to do because she knows she's going crazy. So she's constantly telling her mom, who is her manager, like, yo, like I'm not in the right mental space to do this tour right now. But her mom is in the mental space of like, well, it doesn't matter. This is your last chance. Like, you already fucked up the last tour by doing drugs and going on the binge with your boyfriend, and then, he died or whatever, and that tour got canceled. So now we doing this again, and you losing your mind again. Like, if you fuck this last opportunity up, you're done being a celebrity. You're gonna be working at fucking Costco with the Costco bros. Like, what are you talking about? We're not fucking up this opportunity. You like being rich. I like being your manager, which makes me rich. I don't care what you going through. We'll take you to a rehab center if we need to for a few days, but we going on that tour. I don't give a fuck, basically, is what the mom's situation is. So, after the PR thing, after the whole, like, charity event, basically what ends up happening is she meets with this dude. Like, this dude has been, like, this unknown number has been texting her, like, yo, were you at Lewis's house? I know who you are. Are you this celebrity, so-and-so? And he says her name. And she's just like, who the fuck is texting me? So she finally texts him back, and he's like, what you're seeing is real. Like, it's not fake. I know what you're going through. Meet me at this bar. And that catches her attention, so she's like, finally, like, somebody can explain something. What the fuck is going on? Because I'm seeing all these things happening, and nobody can see this shit. So she goes to the bar, meets the dude, and he's like, yo, like, my brother died from the same thing and I didn't believe him. But I've been following from each string of person that's been going through, and everybody keeps going through these same things that you're going through right now. So we need to stop this thing. And I think I know how to stop it. And that kind of like gets to the point I want to explain of why the first scene in this movie fucks up the entire movie for me. So he says, alright, the whole point of this demon, the whole point of this thing that's chasing y'all is it wants to kill you. It wants to kill your body in front of somebody so that it can transfer to that person and keep the string going. But if we kill you without you killing yourself, then that ends the chain basically. Like, if I can find a way to kill you while that thing is still inside your body and your thing, it doesn't find a way to kill you, kill yourself, whatever the fuck, before somebody else sees it, then the line stops, so on and so forth. So she's like, bet. I'm not gonna do that shit. You sound crazy, but if I need to come back to this conversation, I will, type shit. Which doesn't make any sense, because in the first scene, he doesn't kill himself. He runs out into the street and accidentally gets hit by the car. And what I didn't mention is Lewis wasn't even he didn't see the car crash. Like, Lewis was still inside the house. Like, he didn't see the nigga die. He wasn't standing there and watched him kind of get hit by the car. Like, Lewis was nowhere in that scene when the dude ran out and got hit by that car. So if what the nigga's saying is true, then the smile demon would have died right there. Like, the dude didn't kill himself. I guess technically he ran out into the street and got hit by a car, but it was an accident. Like, it wasn't like a purposeful, and the spirit demon for sure didn't possess him to do that. Like, he was still inside of his right mind. So I don't understand how you can show that scene and then be like, but if you die before it gets a chance to kill yourself, then we kill it, because we just saw that happen and it didn't end. Maybe the dude is just clueless. That's the only thing it kind of be explained as, is like, maybe this guy is just clueless as shit and thinks that's what's gonna happen, but it's just wrong. Like, maybe that's the only thing I can kind of like explain, but she believes it, and that ends up being a very integral part of the storyline later on in the story. So she leaves the bar, niggas find out who she is, and then she goes back home, whatever the fuck. But it slowly starts to get to the point where she's like losing her mind over and over and over again, and to the point where like she has to go to the rehab center with her mom, basically. So she's in the rehab center, her mom's talking. The mom was like, yeah, we need to get you as cured as you can, so you can go on this tour. And the girl's like, I'm not fucking going on that tour. Like, I'm even crazier than I was the last time we had this conversation 2 days ago. Like, now I definitely feel like I can't do this bullshit. So the mom is like, yes, you are doing this shit. I don't give a fuck. And the girl is like, well, you don't know what's going on inside my head. And the mom like, and they start smiling, and it's like, I've already tasted what's inside your head. And like the girl freaks out and starts like trying to like unclick herself from the fucking like what is this shit called? The vials and shit going inside her, because she's inside a rehab center. So she's like, it's like a hospital room. So they have like needles and stuff inside of her arms to go into the IV bags and stuff. She's trying to unclick that, and the mom, of course, is now possessed by the smile demon, smashes this window, grabs a chunk of the glass and just like, look at me, and just like starts like stabbing herself in the throat and the eye, and just like basically kills the mom in front of the girl. And the girl finally gets unattached and then runs to the door, and then everything pauses, and before she opens the door, like it goes like this, and she's holding the shard of glass and like drops it real fast, like, what? No, and then like looks over, and the mom is just dead bleeding out. So like somehow the hallucination made her think the mom was killing herself, but it was actually her stabbing the mom. Like, when I tell you this demon is broken this shit, bro, like at some point it's just like, nigga, you win, bro. Like, what is even, like, how are you doing this, nigga? And the mom's dead, and they're inside a hospital, of course, so she needs to find a way to escape the building. And she ends up actually like almost getting out, and her assistant sees her and is like, yo, why you covered in blood? Yo, and like starts making this big like fuss, and everybody starts running over, and this police officer like runs her like, oh, hey, and she like sees the police officer and is like, hey, yeah, thank you, and like gives him a hug and like grabs his gun and he's like, all right, everybody back up, and then like kind of runs out of the building or whatever. As she's leaving the building, she's trying to find a vehicle or a car to escape in because she's finally decided like, I'm done with this bullshit. I'm finding that dude that told me if I die before it kills me, then everything ends. I'm finding that nigga and I'm ending this shit right here. Fuck this. Because her whole like mindset has been, every person that I come into contact in my life before this shit happened, I killed that relationship by accident or I ruined their life in some way. Her boyfriend, her mom is stressed for being a manager. She ruined that friendship that she had that I was telling you about, which is about to come back into the storyline. Her and her friend have been kind of like hanging out this whole time. After she texts her and the friend comes over that night, they've been reconnected throughout this whole movie, just talking, and she's kind of there like to help her out. So she feels like she ruined that friendship for a little bit, but she got it back. But she just wants to like never ruin anybody's life again. So I'm gonna end this with me. If I kill myself in front of somebody, this keeps on going and I ruin a whole bunch of people's lives, I'm stopping this shit with me. So as she's running out to find a vehicle, she bumps into the friend who was bringing her like coffee, and she's like, how are you here? She's like, your mom texted me to come, see you and check up on you. And she was like, how did you get here? She said, your driver took me. So she goes to the driver and is like, get the fuck out the car. We're taking this shit. And the driver's like, okay. And then she gets in the car, whatever. And the friend's like, no, I'm going with you. And she's like, no, I can't ruin your life again. Like, I do not want to ruin your life again, please. And the friend's like, we ride or die. I don't give a fuck. You can't really drive that well anyway. So she pushes, the friend pushes her over, and now the friend's driving the car or whatever. And this is like, this is like one of the cleanest scenes that has ever fucking happened. I ain't gonna hold you. What I was talking about earlier, how like, there'll be entire sequences throughout the movie that's like, I'll explain in just a second. So she's talking to the friend, and she like is still trying to convince her like, please just drop me off on the side right here. I don't want you to be a part of this, please. Like, and the friends are like, we ride or die, bitch. Like, I don't give a fuck what you saying. So the girl's like, okay. And she's like, finally smiles for the first time in the whole movie because she feels like she has that connection with somebody once again that actually wants to help her out. So she's sitting there smiling, and then you hear a phone ring, and like she picks up the phone, and like the music just slowly, and then it shows the fucking who is calling her, and then nigga, it's the friend, and she like, yo, and then she like looks at the friend that's driving, and then looks at the phone and answers, and is like, Jenna, and Gemma's like, hey, I got your text from a few days ago about you wanting to kind of fix things, but I've been kind of spending this whole week trying not to respond back to you or see you, and I just really wanted to think about it before, I reattach myself to you because you really treated me in a mean way. And she like, nigga, we've been spending this whole week together. And the friend's like, what are you talking about? And also like, okay, so throughout this whole movie, she's texting her friend like, yo, can you come get me, yo, all this shit. And she's like, and why have you been sending me these crazy texts? What's going on? So she looks at the friend again, and the friend's just like looks at her, and she like, so you ain't seen me this whole time? And the friend on the phone was like, hell nah. And then she hangs up and is like, what is going on? To the nigga driving, and she's like, she always hated you, Sydney, or whatever the fuck her name is, and she has this whole scene where she has to be like, none of this is real, like, I'm in control, I can beat this, and like she closes her eyes tight and like opens them, and nigga, she's the one that's been driving this whole time, and it's like, nigga, she hallucinated that whole fucking thing? Her friend ain't been here this whole time, nigga? Like, it's like, yo, like, this is craziness. And then she's like driving again, and she's like, swerves really fast, but then, she's still trying to find the location of the guy sends it, and then, she ends up going to that place or whatever. And it's in like this old rickety ass Papa John's, bro, or some shit. So she meets with the guy, and the guy's like, thank you for meeting me. What made you want to meet up with me? And she explains it to him. She's like, yo, like, I've ruined everybody's life just being this celebrity figure. I don't want to ruin some random person's life. I don't want to ruin nobody's life anymore. If there's a way to solve this, then I'm down for whatever you have in mind. So he tells her, okay, here's what we can do. I am a registered nurse. I have this medicine that can stop your heart and technically kill you. Like your heart will stop for 4 to 5 minutes and you will be dead. In that 4 to 5 minutes, the spirit should, in theory, die with you. And then I resuscitate you, you come back to life, and the spirit's dead. You can live your life as a celebrity and hopefully fix all these relationships and shit that you've ruined this whole fucking movie, even more so than before the movie. So she's like, all right, bet. He's like, but we need to go inside the freezer area of this Papa John's. And she was like, all right, bet. So they go into the freezer. She lays down on this bed that he had set up. And then he goes to give her the shot. And he's like, oh, let me go get something right quick. And he leaves the room. And she's kind of just inside the freezer by herself. So she's laying there. And then she starts feeling like blood drop on her and shit. So she looks up. And a reoccurring theme throughout this whole movie is that she keeps envisioning the scene that happened with her and her boyfriend when they first got in the car crash. So when she looks up, she sees her older self, you know, before she cut her hair, before she rebranded, kind of just like crying. And she's in the car. She's in the like seat of the car, whatever the fuck. So she's like, and then like clicks the seatbelt and like falls on top of her. And then, you know, she ends up turning into the smile demon, the older version of herself. And then she's like, you know, this is all your fault. So now it finally shows the whole story of what the fuck happened inside that car. Her and her boyfriend were arguing. They both just took a hit off cocaine. So you think that's why they crashed, because they're high and drunk at the same time, like champagne on the airplane. The boyfriend, you know, they get into a big argument. He's calling her a crazy psycho bitch, and she's like, fuck you. And he's like, I'm probably just gonna break up with your ass anyway. He says something that's kind of like, that crosses the line for her. So she like just staring at him, and they're on like this cliff or whatever with like a guardrail, and she grabs the fucking wheel and like turns that shit, and they both swear the fuck off, and then that's how he dies. Like, she is 100% responsible for his death. Would they have crashed anyway because they're both drunk and high? We don't know, because she interfered, crashes the car, they swerve off. I think she has intention that they're both gonna die, but the car rams headfirst into a tree, and then he just dies immediately on impact. And then she doesn't die, but she got impaled, of course. So, you know, the whole pain and everything, and the scars and shit on her stomach. So that gets explained. She's like, you know, it's all your fault. They're back inside the Pizza Hut or whatever freezer. And then there's this long fight of like the Smile Demon trying to like take her over. What the Smile Demon would do is like grab your face and like stretch your shit all the way out. Like your mouth all the way wide, and they'll like kind of crawl inside of you so it can like take you over and make you kill yourself in front of somebody who we're thinking the doctor might come back inside, and then that's what she'll kill herself in front of. So, you know, the Smile Demon goes like this, and it's playing this like crazy music, and it goes right here, and then like she almost gives up, and then finally the music stops, and then she like bites down real hard and like bites the nigga's fingers, the demon's fingers off, and the demon's like, screaming and shit. She's like, I'm taking control, and like grabs the fucking needle with the heart stopper shit and like slams it in her neck and kind of just dies, while the demon, like, the vision's getting all blurry and shit, and the demon's like, no, and like starts getting blurry, and then it kind of like fades to black a little bit, and you like, damn, she won. Like, she actually beat this nigga. Like, we watched the whole first movie, and she ended up dying at the end. She finally beat the demon. Like, it's over. But then the screen starts slowly fading back in, and the demon's like, no, and like just smiling at it, and the celebrities are sitting there like, what happened? And then she's like, none of this is real, Star. So the celebrity starts like crawling backwards, and it's like, wait, what? And like bumps into this wall, and then it shows the demon, and it's like, this is real. And then she's like, what do you mean? And then like it kind of like starts like the like mist and shit starts filling up because like they're inside a freeze or whatever. And then she starts going like this, and as the mist is disappearing, nigga, this whole fucking the past 50 minutes has been a fucking hallucination, bro. Like, she's on stage for her first night of tour, and like that's the fog machine. She's like, and like she's on stage, you hear like the crowd cheering, and she's like, no, and like So the assumption is that nothing inside the rehab center actually happened. Nothing inside the car crash, not the car crash, but nothing inside the car with the friend actually happened. Nothing inside the Pizza Hut actually happened. Like, the past 45 minutes of this movie, ever since she got checked in with that rehab with their mom, the mom never stabbed herself. None of that happened. She's been hallucinating since that point of everything that's happened until she got on stage to perform, basically. So now she's in front of millions of people, because I said she was like a Taylor Swift level celebrity, and she's clearly the most freaked out she's ever been this entire movie, like clearly scared. Like, no! Like, it's like, everybody's like, cheering and shit. And she looks over and sees her mom and the assistant, they're still alive. None of that ever happened. And she's like, smile. Like, the mom was like, smile. It's like, damn. Like, all that shit was fake, nigga. She never beat the demon. I assume she did meet the nigga inside the bar that night that was like, yo, we can solve it like this. But then the demon used that situation to kind of make up this like figurative version of him in her hallucination to make her think that she's killing the demon, whatever the fuck. So none of that, literally none of that shit that I explained even fucking happened at all. So she's on stage, you know, screaming and stuff. The people aren't really caring, they're cheering and shit. And then she looks back over from looking at her mom, and there's just like herself just standing there in front of her smiling and shit. And this is also like a very cool part of the scene. She like grabs her stitches right here that have been inside the, you know, the whole movie from the car impaling accident, and like rips that shit open, and like the demon like crawls out of herself, and then of course, you know, does the whole thing. She loses, bro. She loses. That's one of the craziest parts of the movie. Again, like, I just keep getting faked out by these movies thinking they're gonna win, and they just don't. Like, she, you know, just gives up, kind of just like kneels down and looks up at this big ass fucking smile demon, and then the demon crawls inside of her mouth. But of course it shows what the audience is seeing is it shows her kind of like just fall over and start and it shows exactly what was happening when she was watching that drug dealer. So they think she's just choking, like, yo, is she good? Like, somebody go help her. And like, it gets really quiet inside there. And then she stops choking, and like she starts smiling and stands up and like, hey, she back, hey. And then of course, I don't know what this means for the rest of the series, because she grabs her microphone and like just starts like slamming that shit inside of her eye until it like fully goes through and kind of just falls over, basically. So she kills herself in front of millions of people, and this is probably also being televised and stuff too. I don't know if this means that only one person from that crowd is going to be transferred to the demon, or if it means everybody inside that crowd is going to be transferred to the demon. So I don't know if they make a Smile 3. In my opinion, is good right there. Like, the kind of pretense of like, yo, where can this go from this? What's all gonna happen is gonna be enough to like be an ending for me. Like, yo, that's where it goes. Like, they all get infected, and now the world is just being infected by this demon. Yo, that's crazy. Like, I don't think we need to see, unless it goes to like you know, one of the other people that happened before this, like a prequel or some shit. But then we know they're gonna die at the end. But I don't know where they go from this. And like I said, the only gripe that I have about this movie is the plot hole. But since all that was hallucination, we don't know if it's like true or not. Like, if you really kill yourself, does a smile demon really die? Like, that was all hallucination. The only thing that we really heard was a nigga say, yo, this is how we stop this thing. But then again, how the fuck does he know? It could very well be the last person to see you alive before you die is the one the smile demon goes to. That could very well be what it is, and that's why it ended up transferring to Lewis, and then from Lewis to the celebrity. So we never know. But other than that, this movie was extremely good. Like I said, I was scared a little bit after this shit. I ain't gonna hold you. It was a good ass movie. I give this shit not a high 9, but definitely for sure like a 9.5 out of 10, bro, for sure. This is a very good movie, which is still an amazing score. That 0.5 only fucking is from that little plot hole that can be explained by the nigga just didn't know what he was talking about. That is literally the only gripe that I had. Other than that, this movie was amazing. There are no slow parts. every part will have you at the edge of your seat, have you scared, have you all that shit, bro. It wasn't like frightening, but it was a scary movie for sure. Like I definitely had some parts where my heart was pounding a little bit. It didn't give me with no jump scare, nigga. You know that you gotta be a different type of movie to get with the jump scare on some real shit, bro. Only 2 movies that made me jump scare ever: Insidious with that dumbass Darth Maul nigga, and Pennywise when nigga was standing at the end of the hallway and like ran to the bathroom. That's the only 2 scenes that ever made me jump scare, like genuinely jump. Other than that, very good movie. Highly recommend. Glad I could say I love the first Smile, and glad I can say I love the second Smile. Don't really want them to make a Smile 3, but hey, get your bag, nigga. If you can find a way to make the story work out, hell yes. If he like says like, yo, no, it only ended up transferring to one person inside that audience, then absolutely do your fucking thing. But I just don't know how good the movie's gonna be if that entire audience is getting chased by this Smile demon. I don't know. It'd be kind of weird. It'd be like a fucking another Bird Box or some shit. I don't know, bro. But I'm getting the fuck about it. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, go watch this movie for sure. Amazing movie. I'll see y'all next one. Peace.